Go. We are live. What's good, guys? All right, just verify the post is looking good. Bait rate's all good. Let's go. Yo, what's up, Josh? Good to see you back here. Sahil, what's good, man? How we doing? What's good? What's good? It's always confusing because when I use Restream for LinkedIn, it'll post something like this. Okay, that actually looks pretty good. Perfect. Okay, so I think I've learned how to actually use Restream properly for LinkedIn because this looks perfect. Let's see. Nice. Awesome. Awesome. All right, well, I'll just start answering some questions I have in the last post when people are joined in here. Looks perfect on, let's see, Growth Innovator. Let me actually adjust this link really fast. Okay, make me feel so. What's up, Ori? How are we doing? Good to see you again in the live. Let's go. All right, update that. Perfect. All right, so in the school, we're good to go. If you guys are in the school, the link is there if you want to join. It's also going to be on my LinkedIn profile, so that's awesome. Anyways, we will get started with some content questions I had these last few weeks and my last two pieces, actually. So the first one that I had here, I actually got this from Lauren last week on one of my posts, but that was a good question we can start using for the start of this. But it was, how do you come up with consistent ideas for LinkedIn? Since the content is so different on LinkedIn from literally every other platform you can post content on, the way that I actually always find content ideas is actually through my own stuff, as well as other people that are like kind of creating similar content. But for myself, for example, I've got tons of content every single day. Some of them are to boost my newsletter. Some of them are to promote my YouTube videos. Some of them are just strictly like day in my life or behind the scenes of my business. So whenever you're building your business or like working on your brand, whatever it is throughout the day, you can actually get ideas literally just by doing what you do normally, which is probably like one of the easiest ways I do it. So for example, like 2 days ago, I posted this. I was working at a cafe, so I got some really cool photos of just me working, my laptop, coffee that I was drinking. And I just realized that, okay, so in the last like 5-10 years of building a business, speed is literally what's been able to help me grow so much. And it's the consistency, the reps that I put in, and not really caring about other people. It's just one of those things that just kind of clicked in my head. So boom, I took some photos at the cafe. I wrote the post. Post maybe took 10 minutes to write. I just used some numbers and some results I've gotten over the years. And that's pretty much how I got like an idea for this post. Another idea would be something like every Saturday I post a newsletter on my newsletter, obviously like an email. So every Saturday on LinkedIn, I do a newsletter boost. These posts are very simple. And all they are essentially is just me saying, okay, you can XYZ, which is the title usually of the newsletter. But if your inbound doesn't, so I'm saying like basically if something doesn't work, then this is going to happen to you. And that's why I built XYZ system, which is going to be in the email and in the newsletter. And just 2-minute read, you can get it here. And then also, of course, like a CTA. So these are every single Saturday. So I don't even have to have ideas on Saturday because I already have the idea done in my LinkedIn newsletter, which is so awesome. Yo, what's up, Colin and Corin? Welcome back. We've got Resembly, welcome in as well. Just check on who's here. Let's go. Awesome. Okay, we'll refresh this as well. Perfect. Yeah, so that's going to be for really just consistent ideas, is really just put in the reps in terms of like your daily business and just get ideas from building in public. I think building in public posts actually perform really well. But just if you scroll through my latest like 8 posts on LinkedIn, today's the live one. We've got a newsletter promo. Yesterday was also another really good one. So I was just taking some photos in my apartment and I realized like, whoa, these are some really good photos. Like I got some of my setup, my PC, me sitting down. I was like, wait, this could be a really good photo and like pose to talk about the premium feeling of a brand, because these posts just feel so premium. So that's why I created this one. That's kind of where I got the idea, literally just from taking some photos. And Risha, welcome in. Sajad, what's good? Welcome in, guys. Right now we're just answering some questions from content, some product questions that we had recently. So if you guys have any questions, just ask them in the chat. I'll be happy to help there. But then the one before that, so the day before that was, of course, the cafe one. Before that was going to be actually a AI tool that I tested. I test a lot of AI tools really every single week, so that's kind of what I do there. And Tolu, welcome in. Good to see you again here. Before that was a YouTube promo. So I've literally got 2 newsletter promos, 2 YouTube promos every single week on LinkedIn. So out of the 7 posts, 2 of them are literally just promoting my LinkedIn, my newsletter, and then my YouTube. So those 2 already are being promoted. Before that was a video. Sometimes I do video series. I'll just have random ideas pop in my head, so I'll just create videos on that. So it's kind of random. Another one of these like 3 image designs. I like this one a lot. Just me thinking out loud. Newsletter promo, and then carousel. So really the ideas just kind of like build up on top of each other. So that's gonna be really the easiest way to come up with consistent ideas on LinkedIn. Can we ask questions? Absolutely. I'm just going through all the questions right now that I have from a couple of my past posts and also in the chat. So feel free to ask away. We're really focusing today on like content, client pipelines, and anything you have in terms of like your LinkedIn business or content, you can feel free to ask. And then also, if you guys are not in the school community yet, there's going to be a link on this post at the very bottom to join the free school community. It's going to be the #1 spot to be if you're trying to grow your LinkedIn, build your business on LinkedIn. It's going to be the best place to just connect with other entrepreneurs, other founders, and myself. We have lives every single week happening in there, so there's tons of content you can get access to. Okay, so that question was the first one. Now the second question I had was, what's the best posting schedule? This is a really easy one. I can just answer this in like 30 seconds. But for my sake, it's going to be on Supergrow. This is the tool I use for my clients and also myself. But I go to the calendar, and the best posting schedule for me that I found is actually going to be from 6 to around 7:30 a.m. Central. So I post at 7 a.m. every single day, Monday, Tuesday, all the way to Sunday, every single day. And the schedule is actually built onto Supergrow. So all my content's automatically scheduled. It's published directly, and it's super easy to track what's happening on Supergrow here. The reason why I found this to also be like literally the best is because my entire audience, as well as all the other audiences that I find that I actually engage with on LinkedIn, are super active around this time. So it actually makes more sense to post at 7 a.m. All these other audiences are active. And when your post gets initial engagement really fast, within the first like 5-10 minutes, your post gets sent more to second and third degree connections versus just your first degree. So the actual reach of your post gets much larger than if you were to not have a optimized posting time. All right, Sajad, we have a question here. In your experience, what's the best format for posting on LinkedIn, text, image, or video? And is there a specific time of day that you should perform better? Yeah, so like I was saying, for time, this is the best time that I'm using for literally myself and pretty much every client I've ever worked with. We pretty much stick with 7 a.m. or anywhere around like 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central Time. But 7 a.m. has been the go-to for me, at least for like 2 years now. And Kamal, welcome in. And then the other part of your question was, what's the best format? Honestly, there's no really great answer for this, but what's been working really well for me in the last 2 months of LinkedIn has been, one, these formats of you have like 3 images. I think I got like quite a few new leads, and we generate a lot of revenue from these types of posts. So like one of these, a post like this one. So these 3 images of just like your daily to-do stuff, your picture of yourself, your setup, whatever it is, these do really, really well. I do test video quite a bit, but right now it's mainly just these visuals of yourself, like use your face. Carousels have been really, really good. I've been pushing these like crazy. And then just personal images. I don't really do too many infographics or text posts anymore, like just text. I always want to have my face on stuff. So like literally every photo you see of me, every post you see has my face. Look, my face here, my face, my face, my face. That's like the best way to build a brand. So if I were you, if you want to figure out what works the best, I would throw your face on stuff, whether it's an image, a video, a carousel. Just keep putting your face out there, and that's really the best way to actually grow like a personal brand, is to show your personal self, right? So hope it helps in terms of like what's been working really well for us. We also test this all the time in our agency, so whenever we have new ideas or new like analytics that come out, you'll definitely be able to see it on my LinkedIn content. And then of course, if you're in the school community, you also get that there. Cool. All right, so we got, what was the first fear on LinkedIn? How do you overcome it? I think the first fear, honestly, for most people, I mean, 2 years ago for myself, it was really just I had no idea what I was doing, because I had gotten to LinkedIn very early. This is still in the time when like everyone was still figuring out, like Laura, all the big guys, they didn't even have a following yet. They were just also testing content. And I also came from Twitch and Twitter. So the type of content we created back then was so different. So at least right now, if you're brand new to LinkedIn, you have so many ideas at your fingertips, because all the ideas are fresh right now and you've already been able to see what works. When I started, they didn't have, it was more of still like, posting your resumes, looking for jobs. So you couldn't really find all the content that worked really well for creators in the sense versus companies. So really, it's just like putting your face out there and posting every single day is like the greatest fear for people. They don't know what to post. They're scared that people might judge them. What I would honestly do is, if you're new, just remove all your current connections from school, from your past employees, ex-employees, whatever it is, so none of them can look at it or judge it, and then just go full on. That's the best advice I can give you, honestly. All right, Nick, what if you're ugly and don't think that you're great for putting your face on everything? Nah, cap. Can't be ugly, man. That's all your own opinion. But I promise you, dude, just post yourself. It don't matter. I ain't no cutie either, but that's how it is, man. Okay, so that was the posting schedule question. And then the other question we had, what's up, Lorix? Welcome in as well. Good to see you. I think I saw you from the community, right? The school. Yeah, good to see you. Okay, so the next question was, should I post personal stories or business tips more? I would say, honestly, both. I do a lot of personal stuff just because I want to build that kind of brand so people can actually understand me. I also want to build an audience where I can work together with my audience and build stuff with them versus just being like that guy who's just trying to sell stuff, right? I'm not much of a just, I want to sell stuff and get off the platform. I spend 5 to 6 hours a day on LinkedIn answering questions, talking to my audience, answering comments, you name it. So that's a big part of myself is personal stuff. So for me, it's typically 80 to 20%. A lot of 80% is like my behind the scenes, my personal stories, what I'm doing for my business. And then 20% is going to be promotional stuff, the business stuff, some testimonials, you name it. So kind of figure out that percentage, whether it's 80, 20, 70, 30. I wouldn't do something like 50, 50 unless you want to test it out. But really the biggest thing about LinkedIn is like just testing is what's going to help you succeed the most. So just test a lot, figure out what works. But I would definitely have both personal and business stuff. Yeah, and totally no worries. Happy to answer the question there for sure. Okay, so then the next question we have was, how do you repurpose content without it feeling repetitive? Honestly, I do repurpose a lot of content, and same for all the clients that we're working at my content agency. We're repurposing a lot of content, but the way we repurpose it is a little different than we used to. So a long time ago, I would just repurpose the whole post. I'd post the same visual, the same copy, the same CTAs. The biggest thing we're doing now is for the visuals, we're always changing the visuals. It makes no sense to repurpose the same visuals every single time, unless it's like a text post. So for example, I'm not really going to repost the same post of me working at Dunkin' Donuts, right? I'm not going to do that. But I will take this copy. If this copy worked well, I would take this copy, change the visuals, change the CTA, whether it's maybe a more of a follow me on LinkedIn versus a, buy my XYZ course. So everything stays the same besides the visuals and the CTA. The copy can be the same, maybe change a little bit, change the hook if you want, just to kind of drive a different type of audience if it didn't work before. But if the post worked really well, I would keep the exact copy, just change the visual and the CTA, and that's gonna be the best way to repurpose your content. And typically after every 2 months, I'll take like the best 7 to 14 posts from those 2 months, and I'm gonna repurpose those posts within the next 2 months, right? So I'm not just going like after 30 days, I'm not just taking like my top 15 posts and repurposing the next month, just because your content would get so repetitive. So after 2 months, I take the top 14 posts, and I usually take 7 of them for the next month, and then 7 of them for the next month after that. And that way you have it spread out at a pretty good timeline. Do you have someone that takes pictures for you, or do you do it yourself? So for things like this, yeah, my girlfriend will take these for me. For posts like this, I've actually got a tripod and a little clicker, so I can just set up my tripod with my camera, click it, takes the photo, easy. But yeah, so some of them I'll have like myself, like this video actually was a tripod. So tripod, selfie, tripod. So it really just depends on if you have people available. If you don't, just cop like a cheap tripod on Amazon. And just put a camera on it. If you have like just your phone camera, just buy like a phone selfie stick, whatever, put it up, and then use like one of those clickers that you can automatically take pictures of you, and then super easy. Yo, what's up, Rohan? Good to see you. Every content is a great format as long as it takes or talks more about your ICP's pain points. On my part, carousels are much more effective, and pictures too. Yeah, I've seen that as well. It's good, very good point there. Carousels have been working really well. I think carousels kind of died down for a little bit, and then they really got pushed up again. So for your sake, I would say target your ICP and just test out carousels, maybe test it out for a couple weeks, and also test out some personal images and see what one works better. A lot of people are going to hate on personal stuff. Like I've seen a lot of people on my timeline just talking trash about like, oh, no posting selfies, whatever. You just got to do what works for you. Like it works really well for me. It helps me build my brand. So I'm going to keep doing it. And maybe it doesn't work for some people. So it's one of those things you just kind of have to trial and error. I can give you all like the steps and like the information and the analytics for something, and then you can go and test out yourself. That's really like the best way to do it. Okay, so moving on to the next question we had from the school community actually was, how do you measure which posts actually generate leads? It's a great question, and really the easiest way to do it is if you're only using LinkedIn Analytics, what you can pretty much do is number one, where are your leads coming from? So when you get a lead, are they booking a call? Are they sending you a DM? First, you got to figure out where that lead's actually going. And for my sake, it's going to be booking a call or sending me a DM asking about my services. So for example, I had a day, I think it was last week, where we had 4 booked calls in one day from one post. So I was able to look, okay, so on that day, since I had 4 booked calls in one day, I knew that it was from that post that day. I also had some DMs that day as well, so I knew that post was really relevant to the fact that those leads were coming in. So I knew that post was the reason why I was getting those leads. So typically what you can do is when you post content, it only really works if you're posting content. If you're not posting content, it's a lot harder to figure out what content is doing what. And sometimes leads will come from posts you posted many weeks ago. So sometimes it can be a little challenging. But if you have UTM parameter links, so for example, if you have a Calendly link with a UTM, you can find exactly where that person came from, whether it was from your website, from your YouTube video, you name it. So pretty much just organic content and using UTM parameters is really the easiest way to figure out where your clients are coming from. And better yet, if once you actually land that client, just ask them where they found you, where they found your booked call, whatever it is. I always ask my clients this after like a week, just to like, I'm curious. So I always ask that if I don't know where they came from. So that's another easy way you can do that. Okay. What do you think about AI made posts? A cool shortcut or just a fake and boring one? Honestly, I don't really like AI, at least for writing content. I don't think AI is very good at all. I obviously haven't done it for myself really. I mean, I have a video that I made that's actually being posted next week about basically seeing if AI can create content exactly like how I write, but I won't use AI for myself. I don't think it's worth it. The one thing I do is I will go to some AI models and AI tools and I will get ideas and maybe like a little bit of content strategy and a plan for my future post, but I'll never just copy it, paste, and edit a little bit. I will take the idea and then spin it fully into my own content strategy, but I will never just take ChatGPT, say, hey, write me a post, and then post it. They have too many M dashes, doesn't talk like me. Honestly, it's not relevant to my ICP. My audience doesn't really, they don't enjoy the content as much, which is why I always focus on creating content that actually is from me, even if it takes a little longer. But my recommendation for you would just be to use the AI to get ideas and maybe to generate some hooks versus generating like an entire post. Hope that helps. Okay, so moving on is the next question from school as well. How do you stay consistent when you're busy running a business? So in terms of content, I'm assuming you mean content consistency. Really the easiest way there is going to be to schedule content in advance. So for example, I've got this calendar for myself, right? And we've got content all the way down from the 22nd here to the 18th. And so like creating content in a calendar really helps, as well as scheduling the content really helps. So for example, if I know that I have a YouTube video and a newsletter coming out next week, I can create those posts today, schedule them out. And the same for like these photos, for example. I will spend one day of the week taking 20 photos, and those 20 photos are good enough for the next 3 weeks of content, right? If you try to create a post every single day and try to like, film the video, take the photos every single day, some days you're gonna miss out. You don't have time. You're too busy on the business. You're too busy working with clients. So you're gonna miss a day, and then that becomes missing 2 days, and that becomes missing like 3 days next week because you're just all not caught up and you're just so far behind. So the biggest thing you can do really is to schedule content in advance and create lots of content in one day so you can batch create. Batch create your photos, batch create your carousels, your video content. If you're looking good, if you got your light, your studio ready to go, if you have like an hour of your time, try to batch a bunch of content at once, and that's gonna be the easiest way to stay consistent, even when you're super busy. Because myself, I'm super busy. I had like a 15-hour day the other day, 15 hours of just straight working with clients. So some days I just don't have time to create content. It's just all client work. So you have to kind of figure out your balance between how much content you're creating and then how much time you're spending on your actual business and scaling your business, since cash flow is so important. Okay, great question though. Very good. Also, while I have you guys here, if you haven't already joined yet, there's a link to the school community in this post. So if you go to LinkedIn post below the live, you'll find the school community right here. You can click this link and you can join 100% for free. This is our like the #1 place to be if you are trying to grow your community. We got Jimmy and Summit. I'll go ahead and approve you guys. You can join in here. And if you're also new, go to the welcome, introduce yourself, and share a pic of your workspace. Just go here, go ahead and just share a picture of your workspace, your studio, tell about yourself, and then feel free to start adding like your own discussion as well. This is gonna be a great place for you to grow your business, talk to other people that are creating something similar. We're also doing weekly coffee chats and Q&As. We also do like where we all work together at once for like an hour, just all sitting in a call, just working together. So if you want to join this, best place to be, just go ahead and use the link in the post, and you'll have full access to this fully free. Okay, so that's answering those questions there. Alian, what is your question? Yeah, you can ask the questions in the chat, no worries. Feel free to let me know on that. Okay. How to make my profile stand out on LinkedIn? That's a good question too. I actually just filmed a 22-minute video that's coming out next week. It's coming out on September 3rd, the perfect LinkedIn profile setup. So if you guys haven't already subscribed to my YouTube, that video is going to be really good. And you're also going to find it on my LinkedIn. But what I recommend is first, obviously, your LinkedIn banner, something very similar to this. I've got 2 CTAs. The first one is double your leads in 13 days. The second one is start with frameworks for free that get results today. And then the main headline, which you should have on your banner, mine is actually a testimonial. It's a review from a recent client. And they said we doubled our leads in 13 days. So we were actually able to double my leads, or the leads of one of my clients, just from their content alone in 13 days. So I used that testimony, that review from my client. I threw it on my banner, and I've got the 2 CTAs, and I leave it at that. It's a very simple banner. And then, of course, like the actual headline here of my profile is we build your LinkedIn content engine, you get clients and authority. So I'm basically telling you, if you come to my profile and you want to figure out what I do, I'm telling you right now that we will build your content engine and you're going to get clients and authority. So what we do for you, and then what you're going to get in return, what's the ROI for you. And then, of course, a optimized profile photo, and then a really good optimized about section. A lot of my high ticket clients come from this link right here. So make sure your about section is really optimized, because this link is going to be very profitable. And then obviously your featured section, another great place. It's a crazy statistic I saw today. It's like 75% or 85% of people on LinkedIn don't use their featured section. So if you don't use this, make sure to use it, because it's a heavy place for high traffic on LinkedIn. And then that's pretty much like a simple way of showing the profile. But when my video comes out next week on September 3rd, you'll get a 22-minute masterclass on how to make a perfect profile. Cool. Okay, so if I'm starting out on LinkedIn, how can I make a content calendar for 30 days to attract my target audience? So the first thing you really need to figure out is, what are you selling? So are you selling like low ticket stuff? Are you selling like a coaching program? First, I need to know your niche, but figure that out first. What are you selling? And then for your actual content, I would figure out exactly how you want to position yourself. So do you want to become like a very professional, stern person? Do you want to have like more chill vibes? I would figure that out first in terms of like how you want to write your content. And then just jump to ChatGPT if you have no ideas yet, and just throw everything in there about yourself, about the type of content you want to create, what you're selling, maybe like some website links, and just give it as much information as possible. Ask for a 30-day calendar, and then from that 30-day calendar it gives you, take some ideas from it, see what you like the most, and if you don't like it, scratch it and just ask for it again. It'll actually kind of help you gain ideas for that first, let's say 30 days or maybe even 2 weeks, and that way you have a decent understanding of how the content works. And if you want even more ideas, go to your LinkedIn timeline and just scroll stuff, see what people are posting, what's working really well, and you can kind of help that build into your own. But yeah, if you're like brand new, fully on LinkedIn, you have no idea what you're doing, I would say, first of all, join my school community, because you're going to get lots of access to tons of good stuff there. But use ChatGPT and just ask it for some ideas, throw everything in that you know about yourself and your content and your ideas that you're trying to sell. And if you're not trying to sell anything, then of course you'd be doing free products first versus the paid stuff. But I would say use some AI to figure out, a little better understanding of what you want to create, and then that would help you a lot more. Have you tried using LinkedIn Premium before? Is it really good to help and get clients? I've used it before. I don't use it just because the amount of money it takes, like the ROI isn't really there for my certain strategy. So I'll use actually other LinkedIn tools. I use stuff like Aimfox, Supergrow. I've got Beehive automations. And then also Typestream. So I've got 4 different tools that essentially are, in my opinion, a much higher ROI in terms of like the price of them, etc., for my business, especially if I'm working with other clients too. If we all had to start using LinkedIn Premium, I don't see the ROI in terms of how much it costs and what you actually get out of it. And I don't really like the UI of Premium. It's a really good tool though, but I like my tech stack a lot more because it's been working for six to actually 12 months now. So I like that better, but you can definitely try it. I think there's a free trial. You can usually get like 14 days or something like that. So definitely worth trying if you haven't tested it out already. Okay, so let's go over the next question. My camera's about to die. Okay, perfect. Yo, Aeon, what's good? Good to see you in the live, man. Hope all is well. Okay, so moving on to the next question, I will. And if anyone just got to the stream, if you guys want to ask any questions, feel free. More than welcome to. Okay, I got a question yesterday on one of my posts. Okay, one more time. Have you ever done cold outreach like Instagram DMs or emails in the past? Kind of sucks for me. Yeah, so in terms of LinkedIn outreach, if you guys are trying to build like your own LinkedIn outreach strategy, it's a lot different than IG. It's a lot different than some of these platforms because the LinkedIn automation is a little bit more, it's not as good. They definitely rate limit you a lot, so you can actually get banned pretty easily on LinkedIn. So in terms of our outreach is very simple. It's not salesy or anything. It's really just straight to the point, saying like, hey, it's great to connect with you. If you ever want my perspective on, let's say, creating content that sells on LinkedIn, you know where to find me. It's things like that, to where I basically build a conversation starter to where if they want to know more about me, they have the ability to, but if they don't, oh well, we move on to the next. So it's very unsalesy. We've tested a lot of different like ideas on LinkedIn, and really the best way is to do your organic content to drive people to your DMs first of all, and then if you want to do the outbound, it's more of the non-salesy approach versus being like, hey, we're offering this service, book a call here. If you send someone a straight away book a call or say like, or send them like a video, it's not going to perform as well. It's not compared to some other platforms. So if I were you, I would not start any conversations trying to sell something. That will never work. Can you have my profile reviewed? A quick one would be glad. Yes, I can absolutely do that. I got you. Let me see if I can get a, I don't know if I can, you might have to drop your link in the chat because I don't know if I can find you directly from, wait, is this you? No. Yeah, drop your link in the chat and I'll pull it up. Okay, so the next question we had, oh yeah, someone asked me yesterday, how do you deal with competition? In order to deal with competition, I would say you don't have to deal with it because in my experience, if your products are so good and your content is so good, competition doesn't matter because what you're selling, people are going to find that they need it, right? And also your competition is kind of like helping you get more authority on the platform because the more competition you have, that means the more people that are in the space to find a product like that. So if you trust your products and they're good enough and you create good content, you can just support your competitors because especially in my industry, all I do is we support each other. If someone gets a nice win or someone launches a new product, we comment on their posts. We try to like promote other people's products because that's part of being a creator is trying to build an audience and a community around other people in your industry versus just trying to call everyone a competitor, right? So I don't really think you have to worry about competition. It's more like supporting your fellow creators and they're going to support you back. And therefore, if you have good content and good products, you're ultimately going to sell a lot more. You shouldn't really have to worry about competition on LinkedIn. Maybe if your industry is like super tiny and it's super saturated, but haven't had any problems with that yet. Okay, so what tools do you actually use to save time on LinkedIn? Good question. I ran through it earlier, but I can kind of just break it down right now. I can just draw it on here for you. So the first thing is, of course, LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, and then for our email, outbound and inbound, like automation segments, we use Beehive. So Beehive allows us to add embeds to our website too. So for example, if we want to send someone to a free lead magnet, they'll basically go to the website. They'll find the embed form from Beehive, they'll fill it out, and then from there, they put their email in there and they're gonna get it in their inbox and they're automatically added to the automations and the sequences. So you can kind of add people to all your email automations. It's really, really easy. Okay, and the second thing is going to be we'll use Typedream for now, I guess. Typedream. So Typedream is a website platform. You can build a website in like 30 minutes. It's really easy. It's kind of like Lovable, but not quite as good. It's very cheap and it looks fantastic. And you can also embed your Beehive directly into Typedream website. So it's really easy if you want to convert your free lead magnets, you want to get people from your website to your email automations and your sequences. Really, really easy to do that. The other thing we use is AimFox. So AimFox is outbound. It lets you send connection requests, send message sequences. It allows you to view people's profile, drip sequences, you name it. And you can also get to like view all your leads in one area versus having to go to different, accounts or inboxes to like view everything. It's actually called a uni box and it puts everything together. And especially if you're like running like an agency or something, AimFox is really good. And then of course for LinkedIn, Supergrow is amazing. That allows you to schedule your content, have an engaged tab where you can engage with other creators on the platform. It's by far like the best investment you can make it in terms of scheduling your content. If you're a content creator or you're managing clients, these 4 tools, Beehive, Typedream, AimFox, Supergrow, can't beat them. Of course, Adobe products like Photoshop, After Effects, we use all those to create content, edit videos, YouTube videos, you name it. And then in terms of the actual funnel, for the next question was LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram. I would say those 3 are the perfect ones to start. I would start on LinkedIn, master it, then push over some long form content onto YouTube. Take the YouTube content, funnel it over to LinkedIn, and funnel over to Instagram. And from your Instagram, funnel over to LinkedIn. So you're essentially pushing everything to LinkedIn where you're going to have your community, your upsells, your offers, you name it. Okay, what's the best structure to reach out to someone with DM? Oh, it's very unsalesy. I just usually say something like, hey, it's great to connect with their name, and then say like, if you ever want my perspective on XYZ, reach out to me, or something like that. Something that's very non-salesy and gets people to, if they need help with something, they're going to reach out, versus saying like, hey, book a call here and we'll go through like what you're struggling with. Also, I've learned to, if you ask someone like straight up, what are you struggling with? I already know they're going to sell something, or they'll say like, are you struggling with XYZ? I know they're going to sell me something. So it's automatically like a turn off and a red flag. So if you start it more genuine and more of like a conversation starter versus a, hey, like book a call here, we're going to go through what you're struggling with, or maybe my business can help you. I usually don't like that. Now, if someone is really, really struggling and like they're looking for a service, obviously the DM can be a little different. But if it's like a fully just cold outreach, you have no idea who this person is, you don't know what they're struggling with, it's a lot more risky to do like a very salesy pitch. All right, Ian, let me check out your LinkedIn. Okay, profile photo, solid. Helping B2B brands build 100K plus revenue websites. Founder at Scholar Dev. Okay, you have a CTA, nice. Scholar Dev. Help B2B brands build 100K plus revenue websites. DM me once. Very, very nice. For your about section, I would definitely add a link here to something instead of just having the DM thing. I would say, instead of say DM, just have them book a call straight away. It kind of makes it a lot easier for people. If they have to go to your inbox and then do all that process, it's just like an added step that's unnecessary. So I would just say add a link there. Okay, and then your content. Your content could definitely use some improvements though, from what I'm looking at right now. But your profile is pretty solid. I like the color scheme. Everything was pretty good. This is good. You don't have a web link in bio though, so I would just add a link in bio to something, whether it's like a free lead magnet, your newsletter, whatever it is. I would do something like that. Overall, the profile looks good. I would just say your content needs to be worked on for sure. Okay. And if you want to DM me too, I can give you a better analysis off the live, so we don't spend too much time on like profile audits. Okay. I did have another question yesterday, and it was, this is today's question. Should I create a newsletter alongside posting on LinkedIn? 100% yes. I would create two newsletters. The first one is going to be like an actual newsletter off of LinkedIn. That's going to be where you upsell like crazy. You can provide a ton of value. The second thing, which most people aren't doing, but I'm telling you, this is the most profitable way to build a newsletter, like literally for free without doing extra work, is you build a newsletter on LinkedIn. And it looks like this. So mine has 10,000 subscribers. I have maybe posted 5 or 6 newsletters on this, but everyone that I post is extremely profitable. Now, I don't promote it at all. I promote it maybe once a month, twice a month. It's just because people like the discovery on LinkedIn for newsletters is so high compared to other platforms. So if you have a newsletter on LinkedIn, you're going to get a lot more reach and a lot more people viewing it and a lot more subscribers. Now, you don't get the emails from your LinkedIn newsletter, but when you do send out an email on here, everyone still gets an email like normal, and you can not only just do normal posts on LinkedIn, but you can also send these out, let's say once a week. So whenever I do a new YouTube video, I will promote the YouTube videos with this newsletter. So this newsletter is not meant for posting my systems or anything. It's literally just to promote my YouTube video. So every time I do a new YouTube video, I get 10,000 subscribers seeing it in their inbox every single week or every single bi-weekly whenever I send that YouTube video out. So this is by far the best thing to do with a combination of a Beehive or a ConvertKit newsletter. Both of those are like the best that you can start doing. Okay. How do you deal with inconsistent results? That one's actually very easy, especially for someone like me who runs a content agency. We're testing new ideas literally every single week and every 2 weeks. So when we're testing new ideas, there's stuff that doesn't work all the time. Like we're doing stuff that literally gets worse results than the week before. Like things were working, we changed it up and it stopped working. So from my experience, if something's not working, you literally just scrape it or fix it or revert to what it was doing before. So just keep testing new ideas. When things do work, you grab it and you double down and you figure out why it worked, and you keep doing that thing that's working. When you're posting something or creating something that didn't work, figure out what your mistake was, why it didn't work, and either fix it, scrape it, or make sure you can add it to your next type of strategy, or maybe even use the strategies that are working and then implement that into the things that aren't working. So I would just say trial and error works really well as long as you're able to fix the things that don't work and then double down on the things that do work, and never get too comfortable with the things that are working, because LinkedIn changes so fast. So whatever's working 6 months ago, 3 months ago, is no longer the same as it is right now. So there's a lot of trial and error and a lot of changes on the platform every single week and every single month because LinkedIn is all over the place. So that's kind of how it is. Okay. And it's Sajad. I hope that answered your question too about the outreach. Definitely worth having outreach. I know a lot of people are kind of iffy on it. It's like you have to have the proper outreach strategy because outreach is not good on LinkedIn if you're doing it wrong. But if you have the right outreach strategy and the right content, it's like a combination of just both, best of both worlds. So I'd say focus on that. Okay. Now, another question to get was, should I focus on quantity or quality of leads? So the first thing out, when you're first starting getting clients, I would always focus on quality and keeping your clients, because if you always focus on getting more clients, you're ignoring the ones you already have. They're gonna leave, so you have a horrible churn in terms of like your actual clients that are working with you. So you're going through one client every month, they leave because they don't like your services, and so you don't have any good testimonials, you have no good reviews, you have no good business because people don't like you. So what I recommend is focus on quality first, and once you have enough clients where you can then keep going for more, that's when you can start hiring out. You can use AI tools. You can use tools that'll help you expand and scale. When you're first starting out, I would say from anywhere from $0 to $10,000 a month, it should be your own business. Once you reach that 15,000 plus month in revenue, that's when you can start building out more of a team, maybe 1 to 3 people on your team to help you scale your business. And if it's not actual people, maybe you have some VAs or you have some tools that can help you. But once you hit that $15,000 a month revenue mark, that's when you start scaling more people on your team, more types of tools, etc. But yeah, I would definitely focus on quality first, move on to quantity once you have a team to actually help you scale. Because if you don't have a team, you don't have tools, it's very hard to scale any sort of business. Yeah, I hope that answered your question too. Okay. And then, Lordy, you said, how do you test new strategies without losing momentum? I mean, really the easiest way to not lose momentum is just to keep creating. Even when you're testing out new ideas, new strategies, especially on LinkedIn content, whether it's your outbound, normal content, whatever it is, as long as you keep doing what you're doing, but then make adjustments as you're doing it, you're never going to lose momentum. If you take a few days to try to start something new, like let's say a new content idea or a new video series, and you stop posting entirely to start that new idea, that's what's going to kill you. So what you need to do is when you're building any sort of new strategy or system, keep doing what you do before, and then once that new system is ready, then you can implement it. But make sure you're still doing the old thing before you implement the new thing, because you're gonna have a huge gap of just randomness and nothingness, and that's what's gonna really destroy the momentum. How would you position yourself as an authority if you don't have any client in that niche? So are you referring to if you have no testimonials? What exactly do you mean by that? If you're referring to the fact that you can't find any clients in your niche yet, I mean, the biggest way to build an authority is to show behind the scenes and share your story, share success stories from your past clients. If you don't have any clients, then you can even share stuff from your free stuff, maybe some results that you've seen for yourself. Start doing things like offering free products, free lead magnets, get people onto those. They're going to get results, and then once they get results, you can use that as another post and hey, this person XYZ got this result from my stuff. If you want to try it out too, you can grab it here, and then that can kind of build onto your paid offers. It's kind of like stepping stones. It's almost like a fake it till you make it type of thing. And you're also learning as you go too, right? If you're just starting out, you're learning all the new systems, how to write stuff, how to build properly. So it's a lot of work in progress and a lot of just figuring out what's going to work. So I would say if you have no clients at all, if you don't really know where your audience is in your industry and where your clients are going to be found, create a bunch of free stuff and just start posting to see what actually resonates. And then once you know and once you understand what resonates, ask questions in your content. So even for my content, for example, I'll scroll down here. I have a lot of comments every single day on my content. I will ask questions on my CTAs. I will ask people questions about what they're struggling with, what's been the biggest thing they've been dealing with on LinkedIn right now, how's their content going, and it just starts conversations for me to understand exactly where are my clients coming from, what are my clients struggling with right now. Is this person looking for a solution for their problem that I have? I ask all these different questions all the time, and I'm constantly getting new leads just from talking to people, right? You don't have to have some crazy outbound or inbound strategy if you're just naturally having conversations with people. That's the cool part about building a personal brand, is you are the business. Yourself is the business. So you're talking to people, you're having convos, and that's really what's going to get you the most leads is just ask people questions, figuring out why people are struggling and with what, and that's gonna help you the most. Fake it till you make it worth it. It depends. I know a lot of people that have done really well faking it till they make it, but it depends on what you mean by fake it till you make it. I don't mean lie about statistics. Say that you're making $100,000 a month. Say you're working with 100 clients. Don't do that. That doesn't make any sense, and that'll actually ruin your brands. But I saw an example on LinkedIn the other day, and people loved it for her. But what she did was she started a podcast, and she had no one to podcast, right? So what she would do is she would just sit in a chair and have like a really good studio, and she'd have a couple camera angles, but it would basically look like she's talking to someone, and she'd have like someone, always asking her a question, but she had no one on her podcast. And what she did was she just pretend like she was on a podcast answering the question, and she got, I forgot how many, it was like 4 or 5 new opportunities for podcasts because they loved how good she was at answering the questions. So just from pretend that she was on a podcast, she got invited to 4 or 5 other podcasts, and now she's she's running this multi 6-figure a month podcasting studio and podcasting business. So that's like more of my example of fake until you make it, is like just showing your skills in some way, even if you don't have any podcasting guests yet or podcasting business models, and then just seeing where that takes you, right? So that's like a perfect example of what fake until you make it looks like. And Bilal, good to see you. How's it going? Good to see you in here. What do you think about storytelling for content? Do you have any structure that works well for you? For storytelling, I like more behind the scenes stuff. So if I'm working, I'll talk about my business, what we're doing today to scale. I don't really talk too much about my past in terms of, I know a lot of people talk about their younger self and when they were heavily struggling, but I prefer to talk about behind the scenes, building my business, like scaling it from 6 to 7 figures, things like that. I like to talk more about the journey I'm taking right now versus things way back in the day. You can do that occasionally, but for me, I think for my business especially, it works really well when I talk about what's going on and what's working really well right now, and like building in public essentially. Okay. Aeon, I'll show you, here, shoot me a DM, Aeon, on LinkedIn, and I will send you my profile audit recommendations for you. That'll be easier if you do it there. And Hassan, good to see you as well. Glad you made it to the live today. Well, I have you guys here as well. If you haven't joined yet, the school community link is in this post. So if you go to the live, go below the post on the live and just press on the link to join the school community. It's a free community. It's gonna be the #1 place to grow as a creator or an entrepreneur. If you want to grow on LinkedIn, build a business, join our weekly calls, work one-on-one with me, join the community. This is brand new. We built this and launched this literally like 2 days ago. So if you join right now, you're new to it. We're gonna have all of like the awards. There's gonna be like prizes for people that are active in the community. We're also gonna have like working sessions where we literally all sit in a call and work together. So if you want to be a part of this, it's gonna be a great place to be. It's all obviously like fully free right now too. So thank you, Jimmy. Yeah, brand new. So hopefully get some value out of that in the coming days. And happy you get lots of advice from this. There's lots of stuff here. It's all recorded too, so it'll be on YouTube. It'll also be on X, and it's gonna be on LinkedIn as well. So I'm just about done though. We've hit the about 40-minute mark. So if anyone has any other questions, leave them in the chat. Otherwise, we're gonna call it a day here. I've gone through all the questions from my content the last week, so those questions are answered. If there's any other questions in the chat, let me know. Otherwise, I'm gonna call it for this one, and then we'll set up another live. Probably what's today? Today is Saturday. We'll probably do another live next Saturday. I think that's a good time to do it. Okay, but yeah, if you want your content or your profile reviewed, Aeon, just go ahead and shoot me a DM on LinkedIn. I got a DM from Sajad, so if you guys want to send me a DM here, I'll get through it after the live is over. That'll be the best time to do it, because I'll have like an hour to kind of go through those and figure out what you want. Okay, live looks good though. Perfect. Okay, there's actually another one we could go through. The last question. I did have someone ask me yesterday. It was about the creation of visuals for content. Actually, I can make that my last one. So in terms of the visuals, if any of you are trying to build visuals but you don't know how, really easiest way to do is if you're doing like a personal image, you take a photo of yourself, you can throw it onto Canva or Photoshop and just create a template. So if you want like the really basic photos for this one, for example, it's literally just me working and I have my little logo at the bottom right. Like this type of photo is really easy. It requires 0 editing. And then you can just add like 2 or 3 photos in the pose. So right now what's working really well is 3 photos, just the photo, no editing, nothing, just the photo, a little link or a little logo at the bottom right of the photo, and that's it. Try that, and you can also try like a heavily edited photo like this one. but these work really well. Like it's really just the photo, the logo, and that's it. So I would try both of these different types. And then once you actually have like if you want to do something like this, take the time, take an hour or two to build out the template for it, and then you can just keep editing it. Save the template, and you can easily edit every single photo. They're gonna look pretty similar, but once you have a template, it's very easy to manually just keep creating these posts over and over again. It's not about what is working for others, it's about working with what's for you. Yeah, so I would say in my segment, like I'll give a lot of opinions and like what's working for me to people, especially like in my content agency. Like I will help people like crazy. We'll give out so many pieces of advice. We'll give out all the systems that are working for us. But in the end of the day, we have to test different things every single time for different people, because different industries are just completely different from something like my industry, right? So what's working for me might not directly work for you. The strategy might work for you, but you have to spin it in a way that's going to work for your industry, your audience, and what you're selling. Because if you just focus on like exact copies of what we're doing here, you're not going to find the growth, because it's not going to work specifically for you. Yes, you can take a lot of my strategies and use them, and they're going to work really well. You're definitely going to get new followers. You're going to grow your brand for sure. But there's a lot of other things you have to do in order to see that progress and that success, because of how different each industry is and what you're selling, and even like the overall vibe of you as a person, like as a brand, as a personal brand, your vibe is going to be a lot different than mine. So you kind of have to keep that in mind as well. Cool. All right, so I'm going to save this, guys. I'll post this video on my LinkedIn, on my YouTube, etc. And then you can feel free to watch it if you miss anything. If you have any questions, shoot me a DM on LinkedIn. And then real quick before I leave, because I'll leave in about 2 minutes here, just make sure you join the Skool community. I have accepted everyone. We got one more pending. Hashibal approved. You're good to go. Feel free to go to the community and introduce yourself here. And then once you're level 2, you can start adding your own, like you can write stuff here. So just be active in the community and you'll be able to access stuff here. But yeah, that's going to be it for now. I'll see you guys in the next live, probably next Saturday as well. I probably won't be doing more than one of these per week, but this is a good start here. Anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys, and I'll see you in the next live. See you in the Skool. Cheers.